Hello, hello. How is everyone doing tonight? I'm just checking my levels for my voice as I sit back here a little more. And if you can't hear me, please someone tell me because I don't know. The levels look good to me on the little Dicky Doo thing here. So I'm just going to move some stuff around. Doesn't mean anything to you, but I got to put this on the TV and then pull up my things, right? There we go. All right. So feel free to post in the chat if you are on Twitch or YouTube. If you are on Facebook, I cannot see your messages whatsoever at all, and I'm very sorry. So I'm not ignoring you. I literally cannot see them. It's the streaming device I use because it's free, and so when things are free, things happen, right? So first of all, hi, Lady Doom. Thank you so much for coming out. I'm so glad you discovered me on Twitch because I know you discovered me as a horror writer long ago, and you're going to be excited. I'm reading a story no one has ever heard or seen. So this is a special treat for everyone. And so first of all, when I'm starting the program, I guess. We're only going to be here about half an hour, 45 minutes. It depends how long I babble and if you guys have questions and things like that. But first of all, I'd like to recognize that here in Canada, today is National Indigenous Peoples Day, which is a day of recognizing and celebrating cultures and contributions of the First Nations, Inuit, and Métis Indigenous peoples of Canada. The day was first celebrated in 1996 after it was proclaimed that year by the Governor General of Canada, Romeo LeBlanc. And it's celebrated annually on June 21st, and this is the 25th year we are doing this. Now, also in the spirit of recognizing and acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of our land, I also would like to read a land acknowledgement, which is what we do in Canada. Especially after some of the horrors of recent weeks, but certainly, oh, I'm getting a message. I hope my technology's working. She can't hear me. Can everybody hear me? Can you hear me? My thing looks, okay. So someone on Facebook can't hear me. All right, fantastic. Let's see. Sorry, I just checking before I begin the proper acknowledgements that everything's working as it should. Okay, I think things are happening. All right, so now I would like to, oh, it's hot in here, but I don't want to open the door because I don't want to traumatize the neighbors with my yelling. But thank you, Lady Doom, for letting me know you can hear me. So I would like to begin by acknowledging the Indigenous peoples of all the lands we are on today. While we meet today on a virtual platform, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the importance of the land which we each call home. We do this to reaffirm our commitment and responsibility in improving relationships between nations and to improving our own understanding of local Indigenous peoples and their cultures. From coast to coast to coast, we acknowledge the ancestral and unceded territory of all the Inuit, Métis, and First Nations people that call this nation home. Please join me in a moment of reflection to acknowledge the harms and mistakes of the past and to consider how we can each, in our own way, move forward in a spirit of reconciliation and collaboration. Okay, now my phone's ringing. But all right. Okay, so Sorry, I was distracted by the ringing phone. Not sure if I should hit. Oh my goodness, they're calling again. It's my parents. Carry on for a minute. I think they're trying to get online. And so just give me 1 minute to see what's up. Oh no, I can't because they're calling on Messenger. All right, well, too bad. Sorry, parents. Sorry, I can't help you right now. I am live, and this is how it is. All right. I'm putting this somewhere else. Okay. Oh man, it's even louder over there. Put it in my shoe. How's that? All right, sorry. Okay, so there are a couple things I want to discuss. First of all, the really cool skull background is done by the artist Rachel Clare, and I got it from a backdrop place where you can get backdrops for your green screen, because you can see I got no hands. We're green screening. So in order to use her product, I give her recognition, and she's cool product. I don't know her in real life, but I wish I did, because I bet she has a lot of cool things. Anyways, so I also want to acknowledge that this is part of the National Reading Program, sponsored by, I'm never sure how to say it. This is part of the National Public Readings Program, presented by the Writers Union of Canada, sponsored by the Canada Council for the Arts. How's that? Does that make sense to you all? You can see the little, over here. Writers Union of Canada, Canada Council for the Arts, and part of the National Readings Program. All right? And also, in more excitement, my books have just been put on the brand new shiny Screen app, which is for your phone. And you go on the phone and you download the app and you read the things, and there you go. It's all good. And so I have A Penny Saved and Experiments in Terror on that app right now. And Experiments in Terror, for those who might remember, when it was published by Samhain or Samhain Horror, both these books were published by Samhain Horror in the past. And you know what, Lady Doom? I'm not sure how it all works. I know with these apps, you buy tokens, and you oh my goodness, this phone. So you can read some of it for free, and then you pay tokens to read more, and I'm not sure how much tokens are. It's brand new. It's just being launched this week. So what's happening is that today I am doing as you might see on the little scroll, we're doing a contest, and I know I did say to many people, make sure you post in the chat so you get 5 free chances to win. And so I'm also making it easier where just email me that you saw me on Twitch, so that way I don't have to try and figure out your real emails and all that. And so what the giveaway is, what the giveaway is free tokens for books, and I'm not sure how many people I'm awarding them to yet, and I forget how many I get, but anyways, I want lots of people to get lots so that you can all read the books, and you don't have to read my book, you can read anybody's books. And so what I'm going to do is, everyone who, if you post in here, you get extra chances. Email me during this time, or just put Twitch in your email, then you get more chances. And so then I'm going to open up the contest to regular people who get 1 chance. So and then I'll do a spin the wheel thing. I might do it here on Twitch. I have to figure out the logistics, because I know at one of my jobs with the union and stuff, we do spin the wheel for our meetings, and it's a lot of fun to see the wheel blink and your name spinning. So everyone who has 5 or 10, because like Lady Doom's gonna get 5 chances for posting, because I know who she is anyways, and then send me your email, Lady Doom, and you'll get 5 more, so you'll get 10. You get 10 chances on the wheel. Lady Doom. Okay, Lady Doom 420, like the 420. All right, so on with the show, I guess. So what I'm reading for you, did I do all the preamble? Yes, I did. Okay, so the story I'm reading for you today is called A Strange Case. Now, this story was originally there it is. See that book that just went by? The Pulp Horror Book of Phobias Part 2? This story was actually supposed to be in that book, but then, and it was accepted, it hasn't been edited, so I'm reading you the raw version. But then, as more stories came in for the anthology, they changed the tone of the anthology. So they asked, MJ Sydney asked me to write a different story. So my story, Another Door Opens, is actually in that Pulp Book of Horrors Phobias 2 instead of this one. But she said she might publish this one another time. However, it's sitting around waiting to be read. So here we go. Let me just have a little sip. All right, fasten your seatbelts. Okay, here we go. I just want to double check. Lady Doom will tell me if I'm having a techno. You can still hear me, right? You can hear me fine? So I don't want to be reading and then nobody heard me. So let me know if there's any technical issues or things are glitching and freezing and all that. Okay, great. Thank you. You're my tech assistant today. All right. So this is called A Strange Case. Okay. The buzzing of her clock radio grew persistently louder until she slammed her hand up and against the buttons. The clock was silent. Lottie tossed the covers from her sweaty naked body as she looked at the digital numbers. 7:20 a.m. Ugh. She sat up in the bed, the rising sun leaking through the curtains, staining the white walls red. She looked over at the nightstand. Her latest Stephen King book lay beside the clock, her half-empty glass of red wine, her vaporizer, and a tiny hairball. She narrowed her eyes as she stood up. Fucking hairball, she whispered. She opened the nightstand and took out a pair of salad tongs. She plucked the offending ball from the nightstand and tossed it into the nearby wastepaper basket. She looked around the bedroom, holding the tongs at ready. Everything else was in its place. The other nightstand lay empty, except for her charging cell phone. No hairballs. She looked at the dresser top, especially around her comb, brush, and hand mirrors. No hairballs. Good. She returned the tongs into the nightstand drawer. She stumbled into the kitchen, her eyes examining the floor with every step, pausing by the couch and doing a half kneel to check. All clear. She eyeballed the counter and then prepared the coffee pot. While the coffee maker dripped and burbled, she went to the bathroom, keeping her surveillance of the floor on high alert. She turned on the shower. As the room filled with steam, she stepped under the hot spray. The pounding water soothed her. She thought about the work she had to do that day, about the case that might be a serial killer. She kept arguing with her two co-workers that several unsolved mysteries and murders in the annex were connected. They all denied it. They said it was too far apart, the crime itself too different. She didn't care. She was right. She knew she was right. She could feel it in her gut. There had to be a connecting thread between the murders. It wasn't obvious yet, but it was there. She could sense it, like a spider sensed a fly twitching in its web. Oh shit, she shouted. The water had stopped gurgling down the drain and was now swirling around her feet. Oh, damn it! She turned off the shower and quickly stepped out of the tub. She wrapped herself in a towel and then looked at the water in the tub that wasn't going down. Ah! Ah! She went into the kitchen, her shoulder-length hair dripping like she'd been caught in a storm. She poured a cup of coffee, added a spoon of sugar, and a dash of half and half, and stirred. She sipped it. Too hot. She added more half and half. Then she downed it. Okay, I can do this. She returned to the bathroom and grabbed the plunger from where it was stashed by the toilet. She set to work plunging. Nothing. She did it again. Nothing. Oh, for fuck's sake. She'd call the landlord when she got to work. But she knew from last time, which was only last month, that he'd be angry. He'd say she was clogging it on purpose, that she should use a trap. She did use the trap, so what the hell? She went into the bedroom and found a wire coat hanger. She straightened it out on one end. She took a deep breath and returned to the tub. She poked the hanger at the drain. The trap lifted out, empty. The water still didn't budge. She poked the wire down the drain and wiggled it around. She could feel something. Her stomach gurgled and the half and half soured in her throat. She began to drive heave. Slowly she pulled the wire hanger out. A bit of wet, stringy hair clung to it. Ah! She groaned, trying not to puke. She lifted the hair from the tub and flung it into the wastebasket beside the toilet. Ah! The water bubbled and slowly began going down. Thank God for that. Lottie was able to make it to work on time that day. The next morning, she woke to her alarm clock. Again, she smacked it off. Again, she saw a hairball sitting on her nightstand. Today's ball was a little bit bigger. Fuck off, she told it, as she picked it up with her tongs and put it in the wastebasket. She saw that there were many hairballs in there. Every day there was a new hairball. It seemed amazing sometimes how a hairball would happen. 1 minute, nothing is there, and the next, one just shows up. She looked at the hairballs in the basket. They weren't all from her. She had brown hair. One of the hairballs contained red strands. Another contained jet black. Some were even blonde. Do they just jump on me at some point during the day when I'm not looking, and then sit on my end table all night, judging me? She took the basket into the kitchen. She took out a garbage bag and emptied the waste basket into it. She also did the kitchen basket while she was at it. She started the coffee and then hit the shower. Everything was fine. She had lathered up her hair and the bubbles were gently swirling down the drain. Until they weren't. Damn it! Lottie shouted. Fucking goddamn it! She finished rinsing her hair and stepped out of the tub. The water remained, sitting stagnant under a film of popping puddles and frothy, dirty foam. She took the wire hanger out from under the sink and began fishing. She was dry heaving the entire time. Once again, she scooped out the empty trap and then knotted strands of hair, slimy with soap. She tried not to puke as she flung the mess into the wastebasket. Oh, God, she heaved, putting her hands over her mouth. She went into the kitchen and grabbed the garbage bag. She dragged it into the bathroom and emptied the bathroom container into it, trying not to look at the mess. She then opened her medicine cabinet and took out a pair of scissors. Fuck it. She tied her hair into a ponytail on top of her head. She took the scissors and cut it down to the hair tie. She tossed the cut hair into the trash. She combed out her new do. Now her hair was in a bob just above her chin. No more hair clogs. She was certain to tie up the bag and put it in the garbage chute on her way to work. Good riddance. Lottie sat at her desk in the large cubicle she shared with two other co-workers, Joe and Ben. The three of them were staring at 3 monitors displaying several autopsy shots of murder victims. Or alleged murder victims. See, now that one has red hair, that one is a blonde, and those 3 are brunettes. I think that we can say that if there was a type, it wasn't with the hair, Ben remarked. Yes, but you'll note, I think, Pull up pictures of them while they were still alive, Lottie said. Let's see them. We've looked at them so many times, Joe said as he leaned back in his chair, rolling his eyes. One more time, Lottie said. Stills of the 5 victims came up. The 3 detectives leaned forward, studying them. And these are the most recent photos, right? Lottie asked. Yes, thank God for cell phones and the cult of the selfie, said Ben. We already know. 2 males, 3 females, ages 21 to 43, said Joe. Yes, and they all have different birthdays, different races, different backgrounds, Ben said. But, Lottie said, they all have bangs. Huh? Said Ben. You're right. In these shots, Joe leaned forward, pointing at the monitors. Sorry. Do they all have Instagram? Ben asked. We'll find out, Joe said as he began typing on the tablet he had on his lap. Maybe there's a connection, Lottie said as she pulled out her own hair. Her new do felt weird, being so short. She knew it likely looked like a disaster, but it hadn't been too bad when she left that morning. She looked at the pictures on the monitor, and then something under the monitor caught her eye. There was a dust bunny. Okay, she could live with that. Dust bunnies were common at the office. They could gather together in clumps of 2 or 3, but they didn't really bother anyone. Sometimes they grew rather large, and it could be annoying when they'd latch onto your shoe or dress. But they were easy to spot. They didn't blend as well into their backgrounds as did the hairballs. Hairballs were like spiders. They could curl up in a crevice and then suddenly appear just when you thought it was safe. But was it safe? Is it ever safe? Lottie, Joe said, are you listening? Oh, sorry. Hell, you brought up this premise and now you're zoning out on us. What's going on? Are you high? Joe asked. No, not high. Sorry. Maybe I need another cup of coffee. I've not been sleeping well. Go then. Hey, why don't you go over to Timmy's and grab us all a coffee and a snack pack of Timbits? Here, Joe said. I got a gift card. He handed her the gift card. Lottie stood up, looking at the dust bunny. But it wasn't a dust bunny after all. It had been a sneaky little hairball the whole time. Oh, she gasped, and she put her hand over her mouth. Sorry, thank you, she muttered as she took the gift card and hurried off. When she returned home that night, she was carrying a large pizza, a few bottles of ginger ale, and a bottle of drain clog remover. She put the pizza on the table and the pop into the fridge. She grabbed a slice of the piping hot pizza and paced around the apartment. Okay, if I look for them all now, they won't be there in the morning, and then I won't have to get them all and be late. She examined under the furniture, every shelf of the bookcase, behind the TV. She ate a second slice of pizza while she inspected the bedroom. All clear, she announced. She examined the bottle of drain clog remover. Specially formulated for hair clogs, safe for all types of pipes. A bit of bile rose in her throat. She swallowed it down. I'll need fortification for this, she muttered. She opened a bottom cabinet in the kitchen and pulled out a bottle of red wine. She opened it and poured a glass. Then she drank it. Okay, now I'm ready. She took the drain unclogger into the bathroom. She opened it and poured half the bottle down the mouth of the bathtub pipe. Stupid landlord, she said. Why call a plumber when we have this stuff? She drank another glass of wine and ate another slice of pizza while she waited for the declogger to work its magic. Her phone alarm rang. Time up, she announced. You'd better work, so help me. She returned to the bathroom and turned on the hot water in the bathtub. It roared loudly and went down the drain as it should. She let the water flow for several minutes, and satisfied that the drain was clog-free, she turned off the tap. Time for bed. She packaged up the remainder of the pizza into the fridge. She poured a bit more wine and corked the rest, putting the bottle in its place on the counter. She wiped down the sink and counters. Everything was perfectly in its place. She fell asleep reading her book. The alarm buzzed her awake. She looked warily at the clock. 7:20 a.m. Oh, just a few more minutes, she moaned. But there were no more minutes to be had. She pulled herself up and looked at her nightstand. Her eyes opened wide, stretching so hard she thought they would snap. How could it be? There was a large hairball on the nightstand, the size of her fist. It had strands of red, blonde, and brown hair woven through it. No! She ran her hands through her own hair. Some short strands came out in her hands, but it was all brown. What the hell? She reached for the tongs. I thought I checked for hairballs. I'm sure I did. I know I did. She picked the ball up with the tongs and put it in the wastebasket. I need to make notes. Lottie went to her desk, a little wooden contraption with 3 drawers. She pulled out a notebook and pen, and while walking into the kitchen, dated and made an entry about the hairball. She prepared the coffee and went into the bathroom. I know this will work, she said. She hummed a song from the radio as she turned on the shower. Hot water pelted her skin. She sang until the dreaded sensation of water not swirling down the drain reached her ankles. Fuck! Stupid drain cat crap! Cheap-ass stuff! Ugh! She used the coat hanger to scoop out a clump of hair from the drain while she retched. Her stomach clamped. She couldn't even look at the stringy mess of hair hanging limply over the wire like a wet sloth. She put it into the basket. She put a bunch of toilet paper over top so she wouldn't have to look at it. She retreated from the bathroom. She found the remainder of the hair clog formula and poured it down the drain that was still resisting water. She went into the kitchen to drink her coffee and reflect. But there was nothing to reflect on. Stupid pipes, stupid drain stuff. On the way home from work, Lottie had stopped not only to get a sub, but to get a haircut. Make it like Mia Farrow in Rosemary's Baby, she told the stylist. The girl had given her a side eye. Lottie pulled up a few stills from the movie on her phone to show the hairstylist. Got it, the stylist said and began to cut. Now that Lottie was home, she realized what a huge difference the haircut made. She felt naked yet somehow free. No more long tickly hair annoying her, sticking to the back of her neck in the heat, getting tangled in the sheets at night, and no more hairballs. Her hair was so short there was no way it could clog the drain. At last she could have some peace. She spent the night happily buzzing around her apartment, drinking wine, nibbling on her Turkey Club sub, smoking her vape pen, and reading more of her book. The alarm rang. 7:20 a.m. Lottie smacked off the alarm. She blearily looked over at the nightstand. 2 hairballs? What the hell? As she sat up, they rolled around and then tumbled under the bed. Lottie frowned. Oh, no, you don't. She flung off the covers and slid out of the bed. I'll find you, Lottie said. She crawled under the bed, hunting for them, but they had escaped. Oh! She cried out as she made her way to the kitchen. She turned on the coffee maker. She went to take her shower. As she thought about how there were somehow 2 hairballs on her nightstand and how they had rolled off, likely from the wind of her movements, she decided, the water swirled around her ankles. The bathtub was clogged yet again. This time when she poked with the hanger, long red and black hair emerged. It took a few pulls to tug it all out. The strands were so long it was like pulling on one of those magician's handkerchiefs that never ended. She was so nauseous that she dry heaved and retched the entire time. She couldn't bear to look at the mass she was birthing from the bathtub. She collected up the hair, flung the mess in the basket, and then, pulling on her bathrobe, ran out into the hallway and threw the entire wastebasket down the garbage chute. She went inside and stared at the bathtub. Trying to get me, huh? Trying to make me crazy with your games? Well, sucks to be you. I'm going to make it really hard for you to nip my hair into your weird seaweed strands. Lottie took out her can of shaving cream and sprayed her head. She realized it was too dry and put her head in the sink, splashing handfuls of water on it. She found a pack of razors and began shaving her head. She carefully shaved so that every hair was accounted for. Every hair went into a bowl or towel. None went near any drains. Not the sink, not the toilet, not the bathtub. It took her a long time, but at last her scalp was shiny, nicked with bits of blood. But no hair at all. I guess I'll have to get used to this look, she said. If it keeps you at bay, that's how it will be. She wore a scarf over her head all day at work. She caught her co-workers staring oddly at her throughout the day, but she'd just fussed with the scarf and an old antique fascinator she'd bought at a garage sale years ago, and ignored their curiosity. There was another one found, Joe said, one with a bullet in his head. No idea who he is or who killed him. He had bangs. A few more slides graced the monitors. The trio looked them over and then compared them to other unsolved cases. Might be connected to the Bangs 5, Ben said, referring to the 5 victims who wore bangs. Or maybe the Northern 9. So many missing people. Sometimes I think normal people would be shocked to know how many unsolved crimes there really are at any given time. I know they would be. People can't believe that we even have jobs. How do they need a whole department just to deal with those loose thread cases, Joe said. We need more departments. It's going to be so hard to solve this. All of them. So much missing evidence, stuff missed, lost, hidden, Ben said. Lottie saw them whispering, mocking her. They huddled together, sharing secrets, her secrets, ready to spread them to anyone who'd listen. Her deepest shame dragged out into the sunlight like a sewer rat exposed for all to see, while she sat stunned and blinking, wondering how it had all come to this. Lottie, Joe asked, startling Lottie, seriously, is there something wrong? You've not been yourself all week. I'm fine, just tired, like I said. Maybe you'd better consider going to bed earlier, Joe said. I try, but it's always something, you know? She started to speak, then put her hand over her mouth. She cleared her throat. Yes, I will go to bed much earlier tonight. My inattention is detrimental to the work of the department. I'm sorry I'm impeding progress. Lottie tried not to stare at the hairballs laughing at her from behind the monitors. Very well, Lottie. Why don't we just call it a day for you right now? Go home, pull yourself together, and we'll see you tomorrow at 8. A bit earlier because we're going on a stakeout, and we have to get set up before the perp arrives, Joe said. If you're sure you don't need me today? No, you're better off. You're better use... Oh, I need a sip. No, you're better use rested and ready for the stakeout. Ben here will pick you up at 8 a.m., and you'll go where you're needed. Very well, Lottie said. On her way home, she stopped to get an ice cream cone and some cleaning supplies, including a bottle of super-strength drain clog remover. She ate the ice cream while she walked. By the time the sugar high hit, she was deep in the throes of dusting and mopping every inch of her apartment. Rest wasn't what she needed. It was cleaning this place once and for all. Obviously, she had missed a spot somewhere, which had led to the multiplication of those damnable hairballs, and somehow she was dragging them to work, or she was dragging them home from work. It was impossible to figure out. And there were at least 2 from that morning running loose. But now it was war, and she planned to win. Each book in the bookshelf was carefully removed, examined, dusted, and returned. She painstakingly went around her entire apartment. Luckily, she didn't have much in the way of clutter, so it wasn't as daunting as it might have been with someone who had more items of sentimental value. She removed pictures from the walls, ran her duster over the backs, examined them for hairballs, and returned them. She cleaned under the bed 3 different times. By sunset, she figured she'd done as much as was possible. She washed up in the sink, not wanting to use the freshly polished and drain clogger removed tub or shower. It was fresh for when she had to get up at the crack of dawn. She scrubbed her face and looked at her bald head in the mirror. Peace at last. Maybe now I'll get some sleep, she said to her reflection. She smiled and gave the mirror another wipe. The alarm buzzed at 6:30 a.m. Lottie was ready for it. She'd woken a few times before it was due to ring, the smell of ammonia still on her fingers, the sun not ready to crawl up the sky just yet. She was excited to greet the day. A stakeout. She loved doing those. They meant long days or nights of sitting in a car, sipping coffee, eating Timbits, and watching like a hawk the comings and goings of the neighborhood. If stakeouts were for more than a few days, you could really feel the rhythm of a neighborhood. You could almost tell who was trouble, who belonged, and who was just passing through. And sometimes she and one of the partners would have conversations. They'd talk about real things, about life, about lovers, about lost dreams and disappointments. Often those times were when they'd find a common ground. A time where no matter how many times she was paired with new partners, that a bond could be formed, a bond born in danger and blossoming in resolution. But which part of the bloom was Lottie? Was she a blossom or something else? Was she bringing revelations to the team? Or was she dragging them down? She would prove her worth over the next few days. Should be a good should be a good PI, a good cop, and a good friend. After all, none of them appeared to have friends outside of their jobs. Most of the partners she'd had over the years weren't married, or if they were, it usually was crumbling by the time they moved on. Marriage. Lottie couldn't even imagine. All that man hair everywhere, hairballs, fur balls, dust bunnies, balled up socks with curly leg hair. It would be endless, so endless. She couldn't see a way that being with a man or a woman for carnal enjoyment was in any way appealing. She supposed that it was a perfunctory deed, or maybe one of some sort of pleasure. After all, she did read quite a bit, which is likely what had planted the seed in her knowledge, what had grown and festered in ways that she should not yet have to face. She looked over to the nightstand. There was a collection of hairballs. Very large hairballs, stacked up like some sort of circus pyramid. Bile rose in her throat. She couldn't even look at them. Fucking assholes. She marched into the kitchen to make the coffee, her heart beating a mile a minute, her mood vacillating from fear to annoyance to anger. She ignored the bedroom for the moment and went into the bathroom. She stood in the shower, letting the hot water hit her face. She tried to focus on what she had to do that day. The water pooled around her feet, filling the tub up to her ankles. The water rose slowly higher. No, I refuse to deal with this. Her throat tickled. Fuck off! She stepped out of the shower with another scream of frustration. She turned off the shower, coughed again. The foamy, filthy water stayed in a pool, refusing to drain out. Her stomach rumbled and rolled as she armed herself with the hanger. She retched and coughed as she fished out a long, snake-like, twisted clump of wet, stringy hair that never seemed to end. Ben sat in his car parked out in front of Lottie's building for a while. He texted up to her twice. Not getting any response at all, he took a chance at trying to get into the building. At last, a paper boy left the building, and he walked in as the boy walked out. He took the elevator to Lottie's floor. He'd been to her place a couple of times over the years. Nothing fancy, just a bit of beer and Netflix. Sometimes there were other people there as well. But it'd been a long time since Lottie had had anyone over. He tried to remember the last time he'd been over for a Netflix true crime movie night, or anything else for that matter. Maybe it had even been a year. The elevator let him off, and he found the apartment. He knocked sharply on the door while texting her yet again. There was no answer. He jiggled the door handle and found it locked. It was of no concern to him, as it was an old building and the locks were shit. He took a screwdriver from his pocket and jimmied the door open. A PI was always prepared. As the door swung open, he saw immediately that there was something off about the place. There was so much stuff everywhere. He couldn't quite reconcile this being the same apartment. He remembered it being neat and tidy when he was over, but now it was nearly ankle deep in dust. Dust bunnies. He looked again. Hairballs? He continued through the small apartment until he saw Lottie lying face down on the bathroom floor. Had she fallen asleep there? Passed out from booze? Drugs? The side of her razor-nicked bald head made his stomach hurt. What happened? Why did you shave your head? He jiggled her gently, and then harder. She wasn't breathing. Lottie! Concern swept through him. Turning her over, he opened her mouth and tilted her head back to give her CPR. First, he put his finger into her mouth as he'd been instructed at the classes. He felt something damp and strange at the back of her throat. It wasn't her tongue or tooth. He swirled his finger again. He latched on and tugged. He sat back as he pulled hair from her throat. Long strands of hair. Just when he thought he'd reached the end, more hair came out. It was endless, wet, soapy, filmy, slimy, multicolored strands of hair. The hair seemed like it would never stop coming from her throat. What the hell? He asked. As he held her body, looking around at the hairballs gathering on the bathroom sink, on the toilet lid, on the floor, he shuddered and screamed. What the hell? And that is the story of A Strange Case. And you're the first to hear it, or see it, or know about it, except for the editor who saw it. And it will be published one day. But thank you all so much for hanging in there listening. It's a long story. And thank you so much, Lady Doom. Now, if anyone has questions they want to ask me about anything, I'm happy to take questions about anything. Me, horror, books, Twitch, writing, video, I don't care. I'll watch the chat. Now, if you're on Facebook, you're out of luck. I cannot communicate with you whatsoever. I cannot see Facebook comments or chats until after everything's over. So if you want to say yay, it's fine. But if you're asking me something, I cannot see it. Oh, you sent the email. Great. You sent it for your hubby too? Or I could put you together. That's fine. Thank you. So so for the Scream Thrills and Chills app for your phone, the giveaway, if you email, as you've been reading while I've been reading, I'm sure, just email me at my email saying you came to my Twitch chat or my reading. Just, you don't have to say anything. Just put Twitch Scream app. You can put it in the header. You could say something or not. I don't care. Just as long as I know you came to my Twitch reading and that you're entering the Scream app contest so that I can collect your ballots and stuff, and then it'll be exciting. So like I said, I might try and do something live on this channel on Friday, but I'll definitely post on my blog and on Facebook who the winners are. The contest will be running all week, so tell your friends, and now that I've done this reading, I'll be promoting the contest more on Twitter and YouTube and so on. Any question? Downloaded Scream. Is there a place on there to enter? No. Each author is doing this. I think all the authors are doing, or maybe only some of us are. So if you see authors on the app, go bug them on social media, because we're all giving away tokens so you can collect enough to read tons of books. We're all doing the contest. Oh, that's okay. I know who you are, so it's okay. I know who you are, but some people I may not know who you are or that you were here or whatever. So try to put that this is for the giveaway and all that. And then, like I said, you can tell other people to enter, but don't tell them to put the Twitch thing. They'll get one entry. So yeah, and hi, Doomstream 666. I didn't acknowledge you because I was reading, but yes, I see your Lady Doom's husband. So we got a couple of doom and glooms here. It goes with the dooming hair balls. I know. Actually, with this story, I have a couple of friends who are seriously upset with hairballs, shower clogs in the shower. This I know my friend who I was thinking about when I wrote this. I know she's probably not watching, but this is dedicated to her because she nearly throws up every time she has to take the hair out of the shower. So I was inspired by that. Yeah. So for me, it's like, I got hair. I always got to be pulling hair out of the shower, But I guess it's even because her thing was because she was in a rental, she's pulling hair out. And she doesn't know whose it is. This was way back, like 30 years ago. She's owned her own house for like 20 years. She knows what all the hair is in her drains now. But back when she was renting, she'd be like, "Oh my God, I'm pulling out all this. I don't even know whose it is." So I think it's hilarious. I personally have, I'm afraid of birds and stuff like that. We all have our phobias, and that's the point of those two phobia books. My story in the first phobia book was someone who was had a phobia about the number 5. We got 5 fingers. We got there's a lot of 5s happening in the world. So that's a tough way to get through life if you're afraid of the number 5. No. Oh yeah. I wrote Birds and the Bees because I'm afraid of birds. I'm not afraid of bees. Imagine that, but I'm afraid of birds. And the reason why I'm afraid of birds is because they're always coming for me. Like I can be walking somewhere and there can be 100 people, but the bird goes for me every time, dive bombing my head or landing on me, and it creeps me out. As I've gotten older, I'm a little more at peace with it. Once I kind of reconciled that probably my fear of birds is that they're miniature dinosaurs, and I love dinosaurs, so maybe I have some primate thing, a primal reptilian thing of they're gonna eat, it's a T-Rex but it's a chicken, or a parrot or whatever. Your phobia is the unknown. Yeah, that can be creepy, especially if you're in a haunted house. What's behind the door? Yeah. And Lady Doom and anyone else who's watching, I did a campfire story for the Scream app people. It's on YouTube and it's on Instagram and stuff. So with that, it's kind of an unknown thing because it's a true story about something that happened on one of my ghost hunting adventures. And actually, I did write about this particular incident in the Haunted Mansion Project Retreat, or whatever we called the books, the second one, because the second time we went to the retreat was when this crazy shit happened. And yeah, it was crazy. A lot of crazy things happened at that haunted mansion place. But yeah, so does anyone have any questions or more comments? You need all my books. I need to write more books. I do. Well, you can see that which my latest book is that one that's right there now. Taurus, a hearse of a different color, and that one's a couple of years old now. That's part of the Witch Upon a Star series, and so far there's 5 books in that series, and I'll write more if people buy them or want them or tell me they need more. And in the meantime, I did write a book a couple months ago that now I need to edit and stuff, and I'm hoping Scream will publish it. It'll be exclusive to them, maybe, if they like it. I don't know yet. I'm talking out of school, so they don't even know. Well, they know now if they're watching, but but yeah, so that's a full novel, not a novella, but a full real novel, and it's witches and werewolves and mysteries and all that jazz. So flying on broomsticks and all that fun stuff you do when you're a witch. And I'm going to be a special guest at KillerCon, KillerCon.com. KillerCon is a horror, more focused on crime and forensics and things like that. And it originally used to happen in Vegas. I went to 2 of them back in Las Vegas, and they were a riot. I loved it so much. Well, who doesn't like running around Vegas and having a reason to be in Vegas, and you go party all night, right? But and then, we were I think that was the same time as some wrestling thing too. It was fun. It was cool. Anyway, so then the person Wrath James White, who's a big horror writer, he was co-running the convention with Monica O'Rourke, and now I'm not sure who's running it with now, and Bailey Hunter too, I think, was one of the people running it. And so he moved to Texas. He moved to Austin, Texas a few years back. So then KillerCon kind of went dormant for a while, but now he's brought it back. And last year and this year it has to be online. We know why. Anyway, so this year I'm one of the guests of honor. And I'm really looking forward to next year when it's in Austin and I can actually go in person. I've never been to Austin, Texas. I think it'd be a real good time. So yeah, so get your virtual ticket for KillerCon. I think it's $10 or something. You know, there's panels and workshops and all that great stuff you get at a regular convention. It's just all online. And what else do I have? I'm waiting to hear back. I'm trying to get into another app as well where you actually create like a game with the stories. I've sent them some pitches, but I don't know if they care. You know how it is when you're a writer. You just do what you can. But it's kind of like I want to do, you know, the choose your own adventure, but it's, you know, creepy things. Depends which pitch they take. Might be a haunted house, might be witches, might be... So you never know. And then I've been working on screenplays, and I was so excited just before I came online here that Impact Imagine, who I think I've entered 5 or 6 of their contests now. Their new contest was just announced just before I came online, and it's horror. Finally, they're finally doing horror, and they're looking for horror TV pilots. And I actually wrote one last summer, and I keep trying to improve it. So I think this thing is all ready to go. And this particular TV pilot, which, you know, could be a 3-year show if they like it, is called The Calling. And it's funny because I started watching Manifest a couple weeks ago, and I'm like, no, The Calling, this sounds in their heads, The Calling, it's like my thing. But I never saw Manifest before I wrote the screenplay or knew about it. But, you know, it's a pretty simple thing. I mean, millions of horror stories have people calling you in your head. It's just what are they calling you for? It's you know, you think of The Force Awakens, Star Wars, they hear the Force, they deal with the Force. It's all the same. You know, the energy, the Force, the evil, the good. What's calling you? That's the thing. That's the thing that's exciting is, okay, so we hear a calling, but what's the calling? It's not a religious thing. Who is my favorite author in book? You know what? I think I still have to say it's Stephen King and The Shining. And I know he's probably done way more brilliant stuff since then. And there are so many brilliant horror writers. But that was my gateway. That was my gateway drug, was The Shining. I read lots of horror before then, but honest to God, like I was, I think 14 or 15 when The Shining came out. And horror wasn't a genre yet. Yeah, I love it too. I love all his books and movies. And horror wasn't a genre yet, so there was Carrie, and the crazy movie Carrie came out, and I read the book, and then The Shining came out. I think Salem's Lot was before, and Christine. Those 4 books really impacted me. And anyway, so I was reading The Shining, and I'm sure many of you heard this before, but I was reading The Shining. I wouldn't leave my room. I read that book in 2 days. I was horrified, terrified. It freaked me out so bad. Nightmares, everything, those goddamn hedge animals, all of it. I was so freaked out. And then when I finally closed the book, I said to myself, when I grow up, I want to scare the hell out of people like I was scared for these last 2 days. My parents would come in, go outside and play. It's like, no, I got to find out what happens. There's too much happening. Yeah, I finally got to visit the Stanley Hotel, and it's funny. I actually was going to read a story that I wrote inspired by the Stanley Hotel, but it's I might read it next time I do a reading, but I said this reading would be short. And so the story itself was half an hour. And but the my Stanley Hotel story, which is also supposed to be in an anthology, which hasn't come out yet. It's been about 6 years now. Yeah, I was reading it today, thinking I might read it tonight, but it's too long. But yeah, it was very cool. It is definitely very haunted. It is not like the Kubrick movie. The hotel isn't big and fancy and glamorous. It really is like the TV movie one with the guy from Wings or whatever. It's small. It's claustrophobic, but yeah, I would sit in the lobby every night because I stayed in the lodge beside the Stanley Hotel because I had there were a couple of us roommates and I kind of went to it late because I didn't know if I could go or not, and then the very last minute I went, so I ended up not being in the main hotel but in the attached lodge. But I'd go into the main hotel all the time, and yeah, I'd sit there at night and I'd just be like so freaked out. And the lodge, I think the lodge was even more haunted than the Stanley Hotel, to be honest. It was pretty freaky. Like, you know how you have those the electric door lock that, yeah, the cards, room keys, that's what they're called, room keys. But you know, they're cards now and they're electronic. So you know, there's three of us in the room, and every time I try to use the room key to get into my room, it wouldn't work. It just would not work. And then, you know, if one of my roommates is on the inside, yeah, come on in, Sephra, geez, yeah, what's wrong with you? You can't work a room key or whatever. But they'd have trouble too. And then, you know, and then one time the three of us were inside the room, we're having a couple drinks and giggling or whatever we're doing, getting ready to go to one of the festivities. I think Jack Ketchum was going to read or something. And we had the door locked and we were just shooting the shit. The door opens. It's just like a friggin' horror movie. Oh man, I was freaked right out. My two roommates didn't seem as scared as me, but I'm like, no, you have no idea how hard it is for me to open this damn door. So for it to just open, it's pretty crazy because it doesn't open. Anyways, I do use that in that story because it was too much. Anyways, does anybody have anything else they want to ask or say or do? Like I said, I cannot see you on Facebook. If you're asking me things, sorry, I cannot see your comments on Facebook. I believe I'm seeing comments from Twitch and YouTube. I'm not positive where all the... but anyways, I'll wait a minute and have a sip, and then I'll sign off because it'll be 8 o'clock. And The Bachelor's on, you know? The Bachelorette, I guess it is. I don't know. I'm kidding. I was watching that crazy Sister Wives, Seeking Sister Wives, or whatever it's called. And apparently there's a lot of scandal behind the scenes, but it's over for the season. It's not to find something new at 8 o'clock on Mondays. And I watched a bit of The Bachelorette, and they're all backstabbing. But the problem was these reality shows. Here, I'm going to get into my reality show lecture. 90 Day Fiancé and Seeking Sister Wives, all those ones I've been watching since they were invented. And back when they all first started, they were authentic. You know, the 90 Day Fiancé thing, it really was authentic. You really felt like they were really people in love, made a connection. Most of the time they'd talked quite a while over the internet, and then they finally meet in real life on the show, or maybe they've met a few times, but then they have to go through the drama and trauma of trying to get the visas. And I always liked it because we'd go to other countries and see how they all live. And, you know, I found it educational and fun and interesting, and the different customs and expectations and such. But the last couple of years, it's just, you can tell it's scripted. It's just, I still watch it. I'm still hooked, but it's sad that, like, it was interesting enough when it was real. Now it's just all drama, trauma, and crap. Anyways. All right. So, does anyone have anything else they want to ask or say, or? Trying to think of what else I could share with you. I know I'm forgetting something I'm supposed to tell you about. I did make a list. Well, I'll say once again that this reading that I did for you tonight was part of the National Reading Program put on by the Writers Union of Canada, sponsored by Canada Council. So thank you so much for all your generosity for that. And with the Scream app, you know, I'm excited to be on Scream now, and the contest, send me an email and get your ballots in so you can win prizes. Oh, thank you, Lady Doom. I'm so glad you enjoyed it. All right, so I guess I'm going to sign off now. Usually when you're on Twitch, you go and raid someone, but I'm not going to do that with this reading because I have too many I'm on 3 different platforms. Yeah, it's too much for me today. But that's usually when you're on Twitch, when you're finished your little thing and it's like, oh, let's go see what someone else is doing. Then y'all go and you look, and you may stay or you may not. All right, so back to, oh, my mouse needs the mouse pad. So back to the technology. Not necessarily. No, I know I never do it myself. But when I'm watching my son, I go with him to wherever we explore. I guess if I ever had like 100 people watching me, I'd do it. But it's like, yeah, hi, it's me from playing Godfall. Or maybe I was playing Grand Theft Auto and hi. And I gotta figure out some more games to play. All right. Thank you all for coming by. I really, really appreciate it. Sorry, I'm just looking at my clicky thing. So have a fantastic night, everyone. And please tell your friends about the contest. And like I said, there's videos out and all that. So have a fantastic night, and thank you to the Writers Union of Canada and Canada Council and the National Reading Program. And thank you all for tuning in and listening. And thank you all for watching this after the fact, too. I know I had a few friends who couldn't be here right away, but they all want to see it afterwards. So it all works. Oh, blessed be to you too, Lady Doom 420. Have a fantastic evening.